in education. So in the last class, we have seen three topics. First one is quick recall of the first unit concepts means. So already I have given some of the 8 concepts. 8 concepts means in terms of for the sake of university examination point of view. So it is enough to study those 8 topics for the examination point of view. Coming to the second one, I have given some previous year's questions means it consisting of 2 marks question at the same time, long questions also. And in that slide only, I have given the PPT slide numbers also. So by using those slides easily, you can go through the answers for the corresponding questions. And the last one is I have given formulas and I have given one procedure, simple procedure for solving any type of problems. Means what steps we need to follow for solving any problem. And at the end, we did very simple problems based on the case 1. Case 1 means economical load dispatch problems without considering the losses. And similarly, in this class also, we will see the same problems means the ELD without losses. ELD means economically load dispatch problems and neglecting losses. So let us take a first problem in this class. So all of you look at this problem. So what are the steps we need to follow? The first one is read the problem, then understand the problem. So once you understand the problem, then write the given data. So from the given data, we need to write the formula, the corresponding formula. So once formula is known, then the next one is substitution. So once substitution is there, next one is answer with units. These are nothing but simple steps for solving any type of problem in university point of view. So that's why look at this problem. Everybody try to understand this problem. So let's see this problem. In a thermal station, incremental fuel cost of 3 plants are as follows. That is IC1, IC2 and IC3. They have given the incremental cost of 3 plants. And they're asking calculate the power generated by the units in the most economical way if the power demand is 1300 megawatts. This is also nothing but a given data. So along with this, one more important parameter is there in the problem, that is constraint. What's that constraint? Whatever the real power is there, real power generation, it may be P1 or P2 or P3, all the 3 powers must be in the range of 100 megawatts to 625 megawatts. That is nothing but our constraint in this problem. Already I told you that we need to respect our constraint. Okay, so this is nothing but our given question. So they have given 3 incremental cost curves for 3 different plants, and they have given the total power demand, that is 1300 megawatts. So we need to find out the power generated by the units in the most economical way. Means we need to find out P1, P2 and P3. It is just similar to our previous problems, but let's see what happens, how to do the solution. So in the solution, what is the first step? That is write the given data. So this is nothing but given data. That is the incremental fuel cost for 3 different plants and total demand is 1300 megawatts. So how we can write total demand? How many units are there? 3 units are there. So we can write P1 plus P2 plus P3 is equals to 1300 megawatts. These are nothing but the given data. So we need to find out P1, P2, P3. So how we can find out? So what is the formula? The formula is simple. Same formula. df1 by dp1 is equals to df2 by dp2 is equals to df3 by dp3 is equals to lambda. Of course, here we don't know the value of lambda. So that's why try to equate the first two terms, that is df1 by dp1 equals to df2 by dp2. Then we will get one equation. Then again, equate these two terms, that is df2 by dp2 equals to df3 by dp3. Then we will get one more equation. So we can get one more equation as from the demand side, that is P1 plus P2 plus P3 is equals to 1300 megawatts. So finally we will have three equations and three unknowns. So easily we can calculate P1, P2, P3. So these two are equations we can get from the direct formula, and one more equation is P1 plus P2 plus P3 equals to 1300 megawatts. So finally we have three equations and we need to find out three unknowns. Just solve these three equations and tell me the answers for P1, P2, P3. Everybody. Solve these three equations and drop your answers in our chat box. If you are so fast, we can do more problems. Do it fast. Yes. So try to post your answers in the chat box. Yes, very good. Someone is giving the answer. So let's check the answers now. So these are the answers for P1, P2, and P3. So finally, we need to represent those P1, P2, P3 in megawatts. So this is the simple procedure for finding P1, P2, and P3. Then we'll go for a next problem. So all of you read this problem. So we will see the fuel cost of an alternator is expressed as F1 is equals to 40 plus 20 P1 plus 0.12 P1 square rupees per hour. And one more thing is the capacity of an alternator is 200 megawatts. So these two are nothing but considered as a given data. So what they're asking is, first one is the incremental fuel cost. How we can find incremental fuel cost when we know the fuel cost? The simple is we need to derive with respect to P. So that's why when you do the derivative with respect to P1, then you will get the incremental fuel cost for the a given fuel cost. That is first bit. Coming to the second one, the fuel cost when the unit is loaded at 75%. Means we need to find out fuel cost. So this is nothing but the expression for the fuel cost. So in order to find out your fuel cost, we must find out the P1 value. How we can find P1 value? They're asking the unit is loaded at 75%. Total capacity of the alternator is 200 megawatts, but we need to consider only 75% of the 200. Then whatever the value we will get, that value we need to substitute in the F1 expression. Then we will get fuel cost. Similarly, third bit is fuel cost when the unit is fully loaded. Fully loaded means how much power we need to consider here? Full load capacity, that is 200 megawatts. Substitute 200 megawatts in this expression, then we will get the answer for the fuel cost. And the next one is the incremental fuel cost at fully loaded. So already we know the incremental fuel cost. So in that, we need to substitute P1 value equals to 200. Then we will get the incremental fuel cost for the unit. Then we will see the answer solution. So first write the given data. What's the given data? Fuel cost at the same time, the capacity of an alternator is 200 megawatts. And coming to the solution one by one, first one is IFC. IFC means incremental fuel cost, that is dF1 by dP1. And we know how to do the derivative with respect to P1. And it is given by 0.24 P1 plus 20 rupees per megawatt hour. The units are very, very important. Rupees per megawatt hour is unit for dF1 by dP1. Similarly, the rupees per hour is a unit for fuel cost. So this is the answer for first bit. Then we will consider second one is fuel cost at 75% of the capacity. Means we need to consider only 75% of the 200 megawatts. So how we can find 0.75 into 200? Then we will get 150 megawatts. So when you substitute this 150 megawatts in fuel cost, then automatically we will get the answer. And the next one is fuel cost at full load. At full load means we need to consider here 200 megawatts. Directly we can substitute this 200 megawatts in F1 expression. Then we will get the fuel cost. That is given by 8840 rupees per hour. That is nothing but fuel cost at full load. All these are nothing but very simple problems, sir. When you know the basic formulas which are already given in the previous slides. So when you know those formulas easily, you can solve each and every problem which are present in the first unit. And coming to the next one, incremental fuel cost at full load. So already we know the formula for dF1 by dP1, that is the derivation of the F1 with respect to P1, then we will get 0.24 P1 plus 20. So in this one, substitute 200 megawatts. Why we need to substitute 200 megawatts here? Here they are asking at full load. Full load means we need to consider total capacity, that is 200. So substitute 200, then we will get here 68 rupees per megawatt hour. So here we must understand what is the importance or what is the observation from this problem. When you consider the incremental fuel cost, we got here 68 rupees per megawatt hour. What it represents? What it represents 68 rupees per megawatt hour means, when you remember this, the definition of incremental fuel cost, the 68 rupees per megawatt hour means if you increase the power generation for 1 megawatt and operated for 1 hour, this is the amount we are going to spend extra amount. So how much extra amount we are going to spend? 68 rupees. That is nothing but incremental fuel cost. Means when you are increasing the power generation for 1 megawatt for 1 hour, how much money you are going to spend extra? That is nothing but incremental fuel cost. In this example, we are going to spend 68 rupees for 1 megawatt and for operated for 1 hour. So that is the meaning of incremental fuel cost. This is nothing but one of your previous question. What is the significance of incremental fuel cost? So this is the importance of the incremental fuel cost. Means easily we can find out or we can understand how much extra money we need to spend for increasing of the power generation for 1 megawatt and for 1 hour. Okay, so this is the importance of the incremental fuel cost. And next we will see one more problem. All of you look at this problem. This problem is somewhat different when compared to the previous problems. But the procedure is same because we have very limited formulas are there. So we need to use those formulas only for each and every problem. All of you study this problem and understand the problem. So let's look at this problem. The fuel inputs per hour of plants 1 and 2 are given as F1 and F2. So these two are nothing but fuel cost functions for the two plants, and they're asking the economic operating schedule and the corresponding cost of generation. That is case 1. In the case 2, if the load is equally shared by both the units, determine the savings in total fuel cost. That is second bit. And one more important point is total demand is 180 megawatts and neglect transmission losses. Means coming to the first point, we need to find out economic operating schedule. Means we need to find out P1 and P2. That is nothing but economic operating schedule. And in the same bit, we need to find out the corresponding cost of generation. So how we can find F1 and F2? So once you find out P1 and P2 in an economical manner, then we need to substitute those P1 and P2 in F1 and F2. Then we will get F1 and F2. So once we will get F1 and F2, in order to find out the total fuel cost, we need to add these two, F1 plus F2. That it gives total fuel cost for the case 1. Similarly, we need to follow the same procedure for the second one also. But in the second one, no need to find out your economic operating schedule. But here the constraint is load is equally shared by both the units. Means how much power we need to consider for each generator? We need to consider here total demand is 180 megawatts. Total demand is 180 megawatts, whereas we have only 2 units are there. So for each unit, we need to consider 90 megawatts. Means in the second case, P1 is equals to 90 megawatts and P2 is equals to 90 megawatts. And substitute those 90 megawatts in F1 and F2. Okay, then you will get F1 and F2, then again add these two, we will get total fuel cost in the second case. So this is the procedure we are going to follow this one. Okay, so let's try to solve this problem by yourself. So look at the given data. All of you write the given data. So this is the given data, that is F1, F2 and total demand. So we can write that total demand as P1 plus P2 equals to 180 megawatts because we are taking only 2 units. Then write the formula. That formula is same, that is dF1 by dP1 is equals to df2 by dpt equals to lambda. Then find out df1 by dp1. Similarly, find out df2 by dp2. Equate these two, then you will get one equation. And one more equation is P1 plus P2 equals to 180 megawatts. So we have two equations and two unknowns. Find out P1 and P2. Tell me the answer. Do it fast. Use these two equations and find out P1 and P2. So roll number is 7. Give the answer. Very good. P1 equals to 88.88. Then what about P2? P2 equals to 91.11. 18 series 252 is giving the answer. So let's see the answers. So P1 equals to 88.89 megawatt. P2 equals to 91.11 megawatt. So these two are nothing but the generation by the P1 and P2. Then the next one is how we can find out F1 and F2. We need to substitute this P1 and P2 in F1 and F2. Then we will get F1 and F2. So again, we need to add F1 and F2 in order to get the total fuel cost. Let's see. So now the cost of generation is F1 plus F2. Find out F1 by substituting P1 value. Similarly, find out F2 value by substituting P2 value. So this is nothing but F1 and F2. Then find out total fuel cost, that is F1 plus F2. Very good. That is total cost is F1 plus F2 equals to 1024.43 rupees per hour. This is the total cost when we are considering the case 1. What is the case 1? When we are generating P1 and P2 at economical rates. This is case 1. Coming to the case 2, what is the case 2? Here, there is no necessity for finding your P1 P2 in an economical manner. What they are doing? If P1 and P2 will share the power equally. What is the total load here? 180 megawatts. And if you consider equal share, then P1 is equals to 90 megawatt and P2 is equals to 90 megawatt. So directly we can substitute this 90 megawatt in F1 and F2. We will get F1 and F2. And finally we can get total cost, that is given by F1 plus F2. Tell me the answer right now. A7, give the answer. Similarly, A5. Type your answers in our chat box. Roll number A7 and A5. Yes, roll number 209. Drop your doubt in our chat box. We will address your doubt. So very good. A7 is giving the response. Let's see the answers. So that is F1 and F2 when you are substituting 90 megawatts. Similarly, add these two, then you will get total cost is 1215 rupees per hour. So this is also a simple problem, but you need to have some basics for solving these type of problems. Okay, next we will move to one more problem. All of you look at this problem. Yes, very good. Roll number A6. They're giving the response at 1000 to 14.43 rupees per hour. Very good. So all of you look at this problem. So when you this problem, almost similar to our previous problem. But the only one difference is the fuel cost functions and the total demand. But why I'm considering this problem is this is nothing but one of the previous university question. So that's why I'm leaving for you as a practice. Okay, do it yourself. Then we'll go for one more problem. So all of you look at this problem. This is somewhat when compared to previous problem. So already you know what is meant by load curve. So let's see this problem. The fuel inputs in BTU per hour of plants 1 and 2 are given as F1 and F2. So already explained in the fuel cost characteristics, the unit for fuel cost can be represented in two ways. The first one is in terms of thermal units and the second one is in terms of rupees. Here BTU means British thermal unit, means in terms of heat. So this is F1 and this is F2, and they're asking minimum cost of generation when the following load is supplied. Following load is supplied means we can get that load from this load curve. And the one more important point is cost of fuel is 2 rupees per million BTU. So at the end we need to use this 2 rupees per billion BTU, means for each and every million BTU we need to spend 2 rupees. And one more thing is how we can get load is nothing but from the load curve. When you observe this load curve, from 12 to 6 AM, our load is 50 megawatts. From 6 AM to 6 PM, our load is 150 megawatts. And similarly, from 6 PM to 12, our load is 50 megawatts. Means we need to consider here two types of loads. One is 50 megawatts and one is 150 megawatts. So in the case one, let's consider PD equals to 50 megawatts. And this 50 megawatts is present for how many hours? 12 to 6, at the same time 6 to 12. Means here 6 hours, here 6 hours. Totally 12 hours is present. This 50 megawatt load is present on the system for 12 hours. That is case 1. And coming to the case 2, here PD is equals to 150 megawatts. How much time is present? From 6 AM to 6 PM, means 12 hours. Means case 1 is nothing but PD is equals to 50 megawatts is present for 12 hours. Similarly, in the case 2, 150 megawatts, it is also present for 12 hours. So try to solve this problem. First, write the given data F1, F2, and the cost of fuel is 2 rupees per million BTU. This is nothing but given data. So this is a direct given data. And we can get some more data from the load curve. So what's that data? Demand. From the load curve, we can get PD is equals to 50 megawatt and it is present from 12 to 6 and 6 to 12. So totally 12 hours is present. So how we can write PD? How many units we are taking? 2 units we are taking that. So that's why we can write P1 plus P2 is equals to 50 megawatt. This is nothing but case 1. Coming to the case 2, similarly we can write PD, that is equals to 150 megawatt and it is also present for 12 hours. P1 plus P2 equals to 150 megawatts. So here we need to find out the fuel cost, that is F1 and F2. So how we can calculate? First we need to find out P1 and P2 by considering this PD. This is also same procedure. So by considering these two equations and PD, let us calculate a P1 and P2, then find out F1 and F2. So finally, we can consider the cost of fuel is 2 rupees per million BTU. So let's do the problem. Formula is same. Then go for dF1 by dP1 and dF2 by dP2. Similarly, P1 plus P2 equals to 50 megawatt. So here we will have two equations and we have two unknowns. So easily we can find out P1 and P2. Okay. So find out P1 and P2 by using these two equations. So you must be so active. So otherwise we can't complete more problems. All of you use your calculus. So let's look at the answer. That is P1 is equals to 15.625 megawatt. P2 equals to 34.375 megawatts. So and the next one is we need to find out F1 and F2. So that's why try to substitute in F1. Okay, P1 is substitute in F1, then you will get F1 value. Similarly, substitute P2 value in F2 value, then you will get F2 value. Okay, these two are nothing but F1 and F2 values. For example, when you are considering F1, this is 210.868 million BTU per hour. Similarly, when you are considering F2, this is 373.5 million BTU per hour. But when you are adding these two, then we will get total is 584.3689 million BTU per hour. But the most important point is, in order to find out our total fuel cost in terms of rupees, then we need to consider here how much cost is for each million BTU, at the same time how much time is there. So how much time is there here? 50 megawatts. We are considering in the first case 50 megawatts. 50 megawatt is present for how many hours? 12 hours. So that's why we need to consider the time. At the same time, the cost for each million BTU. So we need to multiply those two with 584.3689. Then you will get the total cost in rupees. 584.3689 into 12. 12 means here 12 hours. How much time is there for a load of 50 megawatt? Okay, 50 megawatt is present on our system for 12 hours. Similarly, how much cost for each million BTU? That is 2 rupees, which is present in given data. So when you multiply, then you will get total cost in rupees. So this is for case 1. The same procedure we need to follow for case 2. Here the case 2 is nothing but total demand. Total demand means here we need to consider 150 megawatt, that is present from 6 to 6, again 12 hours. So let's see next one. PD equals to 150 megawatt. Then write the equations. Then solve for P1 and P2. Then you will get P1 and P2. Substitute P1 and P2 in F1 and F2. Then you will get F1 and F2. Add those two things. Then again multiply with cost at the same time. How many hours is present? Okay. Then do this and tell me the answer. All of you try to solve this problem. Same model. And whatever the videos we are there, these videos are completely recorded. And we are uploading these videos in YouTube channel. So if you have any clarification or if you want to clear your doubts, so again, you can go to that particular YouTube channel, then again you can listen these same classes. Similarly, whatever the PPT is there, that PPT I am going to present in our WhatsApp group. So B8 is giving that F1 is 1609.2. The unit for F is not megawatt. You are representing megawatt. That is fuel cost. So let's look at the answers. This is F1. When you substitute P1 in F1, you will get F1. When you substitute P2 in F2, you will get F2 value. Add these two things, then you will get total cost a million BTU per hour. But in order to find out the total cost in rupees, we need to consider the cost for each million BTU at the same time also. Then consider these two, then you will get total cost is 38,624 rupees. This is nothing but total cost. Okay, for case 2. So like this, you can solve these type of problems because, so already I told you that in the first unit, our main objective is to find out cost only. All these problems are related to cost only. And let's look at total cost is nothing but in the case 1 and case 2. Then you will get 52,649 rupees around. This is nothing but the final answer for this question now. Okay. Next, to look at this problem, consider the following two cost curves. The total load is 700 megawatt. Find the optimal dispatch. This is also similar to our previous problem, but the most important thing is here they have given some constraints. P1 must be within the limits, that is from 50 megawatts to 200 megawatts, and similarly P2 is within the limits of 50 megawatts to 600 megawatts. So first to find out P1 and P2, if these two are within the limits, there will be no problem. But if any power, that is either P1 or P2 is not present in the within the limits, then we will do what we have to do. Okay, so let's look at the solution. First, write down given data, that is F1 and F2 and PD. PD equals to 700 megawatts. So we can write that PD as P1 plus P2 is equals to 700 megawatts. Then find out P1 and P2. How you can find out P1 and P2? You are very much familiar with the simple formula, that is dF1 by dP1 is equals to dF2 by dP2 equals to lambda. Of course, we don't know lambda here. Just equate these two, then we will get one equation, and one more equation is P1 plus P2 is equals to 700 megawatts. So finally, we will get two equations and two unknowns. Find out P1 and P2 and tell me P1 and P2. First, tell me P1, P2. So A7 is giving the response. So let's look at the answer. First, write the equations, then solve these two. Then you will get P1 and P2. P1 equals to 84.6 megawatt and P2 equals to 15.4 megawatt. So these two are nothing but P1 and P2. But let's consider the constraints. What's that constraint? P1 must be in the range of 50 megawatt to 200 megawatt, whereas P2 must be in the range of 50 megawatt to 600 megawatt. But when you see the P1 is present in the given range. But what about our P2? All of you look at Please concentrate here because this is very, very important, because whatever the P2 is there, that P2 has crossed the upper limit. From the given data, our P2 upper boundary is only 600 megawatts, whereas we got P2 equals to 615.4 megawatt. Means from our observation, it is clear that P2 has violated the constraint. So already I told you that we must respect our constraint. But here what happens in the case of P2? P2 has crossed its upper limit. So that's why what we will do is, whatever the upper limit is there for P2, we just fix that upper limit for P2 generation. So here the upper limit for P2 generation is 600. So that's why we will fix your P2 generation at 600 megawatts. For example, if P2 is less than 50 megawatts, what we can do? We will fix your P2 at 50 megawatt. So always we need to take one precaution, that is our power generating capacities must be in the range of given constraints. We have to respect our constraints. So that's why we can fix your P2 at 600 megawatts. So once you fix your P2 at 600 megawatts, easily we can calculate your P1 value, because we know total demand. Total demand is fixed. Total demand is nothing but 700 megawatts, and it can be written as P1 plus P2. So once you know the P2 value, easily we can calculate your P1 value. So this is nothing but your P1 value. So this is nothing but your final answer. But let's look at for re-verification. So how you can get for re-verification means, already we know the incremental fuel cost, and it is given by df1 by dp2 is equals to df2 by dp2 is equals to lambda. Try to substitute P2 at the same time P1 in terms of df1 by dp1 and df2 by dp2. Then you will get lambda 1 and lambda 2. Okay, then substitute P1 and P2, then you will get lambda 1 and lambda 2. So in the case 1, we got here lambda 1 equals to 47 and lambda 2 equals to 46.6. But from our basic observation, this lambda must be constant for unit 1 and unit 2. What is the lambda? Lambda is nothing but incremental fuel cost. But here we are getting two different lambda values. So what we can understand here it is, what is the observation in this case? When you are considering ideally, these lambda values must be same. But when you are considering practically, in this case, especially the lambda values are not same. So that's why in this case, we are not operating this P2 and P1 exactly at the most economical conditions. The reason here it is, the incremental fuel cost for the first one is somewhat more when compared to the second one. But still, if you want to operate these two units at economical way, again we need to go for lambda, one more lambda value. And that lambda value is to be considered in between 47 and 46.6. Let us consider 46.8. Take 46.8, then again calculate P1 and P2. If those two are within the limits, then you can find out the P1 and P2 in terms of economical way. Here we are taking only 2 units, P1 and P2. So that's why easily we can take one more lambda value. But practically in our power system, we will have more number of units. But how we can solve those problems on paper? It is not possible to solve those problems on paper. So that's why we will use some softwares. By using those softwares, easily we can do the iteration processes are there. So by using those iteration techniques, we can calculate the generating powers which are generating at optimal powers. So this is nothing but the procedure for how we can solve this type of problems. Okay. And next one is last one. This is nothing but last problem in this class. Here, they have given F1, F2 and F3 and similarly constraints also. And the load is also there. Then write the given data F1, F2, F3 and similarly total demand. Then write the formula, then convert that formula into equations, then find out P1, P2, P3. So these are nothing but 3 powers for P1, P2, P3. Let us consider the constraints. So when you consider the constraints, P1 is in the range, P2 is not in this range, whereas P3 is also in the range. Only P2 is not satisfying the given constraints. When you are considering the P2 constraint, it must be in the terms of 20 megawatts to 100 megawatts. But here, P2 equals to 6.7 megawatts. So what we can do is, we need to fix your P2 at 20 megawatt. So once you fix your P2 at 20 megawatt, we need to find out your P1 and P3. So that is nothing but, we need to solve this problem. So let us consider P2 at 20 megawatt. And we know PD value is 310 megawatts, it is nothing but fixed. So from this, calculate P1 and P2. So P1 plus 3 is nothing but PD minus P2, that is given by 290 megawatt. So from this, calculate P1 and P3. How we can calculate P1 and P3? By using the same formula. Convert into equations and find out P1 and P3. So this is the procedure what we are following for solving these type of problems. So with this, I will wind up this session.